Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Happy International Peace Day. It's a wonderful day. It's my first International Peace Day as a peacemaker. It's been a long journey from warrior to peacemaker, let me tell you. It's been a long journey home. Right now I'm even facing the possibility for a third deployment. I got notice that even after I honorably served my country, did my 2 tours in Iraq, that they want me to do a 3rd tour. They want me to go back and retrain with my old unit and redeploy back to Iraq. For what reason, I don't know. Whether or not I'm gonna go back, I don't know yet. I haven't deciphered whether or not the duty to my country on a contract I signed is more important than my moral and my good conscience, keeping that intact. And that's one thing I want to talk to you about tonight was moral and conscience, humanity. It's one thing that that's the casualty of war that you don't hear about on the news, you don't see in the textbooks, you don't hear about. Yeah, people, it never gets written. That's the one thing that we all as soldiers and Marines, we suffer with really badly. It's been a long journey just trying to help me reclaim that humanity. That's why I'm here today. That's why I go out and I speak. I tell people about what I saw. I want people to know about what's happening in Iraq. I want them to know that it's not just a number on the bottom screen of Fox News. We're going across. I was thinking on International Peace Day, it'd be a good time for us all to reflect on why we're here, why we fight for peace, why we work so hard. And maybe it's just because a friend of yours is in the peace movement, that's why you're working for it. Maybe it's because you're really just a really good person. Maybe you have a military family member. Maybe you were in the military. For whatever reason, you gotta keep on fighting. And a couple weeks ago down at Camp Casey in Crawford, Texas, I put together a list of why I fight. And I put this together as a way for those of you who don't have if you don't know the reason why you're fighting for peace, then you can take this list of things right here, and you can share them with people who also aren't fighting for peace, and you can remind yourself why this is a good fight. This is why I fight. Because I can't forget, no matter how hard I try, they told me we were taking out advancing Iraqi forces. When we went to go check out the bodies, there was nothing but women and children desperately fleeing their homes because they wanted to get out of the city before we attacked in the morning. Because my little brother, who it was my job to protect, decided to join the California National Guard to get some money for college. And God promised he wouldn't go to Iraq. Instead, after 3 months after he enlisted, he got sent to Iraq for a year. And since he's been home for 6 months now, since he's been home, he refuses to talk to anybody. He lives by himself. He refuses. The only person he associates with is the one friend of his out of his whole squad of 13 men that made it home alive. And he called me a couple weeks ago, actually about 4 weeks ago, to tell me for the first time he'd been having nightmares. And I asked him what about, and he was telling me that all the nightmares he was having were picking up the pieces of his best friends that were left after a car bomber hit him. Because every single one of the Marines I served with, these really brave warriors that even when some of our friends and people we looked up to got killed or lost their arms, lost their legs, these guys wouldn't cry. They would just keep fighting. They would keep doing the mission. Every single one of them that I've talked to since we've been home, they've broken down crying in front of me. They've broken down crying, telling me about how ever since they got back, all they can do is bounce from job to job, drink, and do drugs, and contemplate suicide to end the pain. I fight because I'm tired of drinking and sitting at home, bouncing from job to job, and contemplating suicide to end the pain. Because every time I see a child, I think of the thousands I've slaughtered. Because every time I see a young soldier, I think of the thousands Bush has slaughtered. Because every time I look in the mirror, I see a casualty of war. Because I got a lot of lives to make up for the ones I've taken. And because it's right. That's why I fight. So you can go ahead and take those. You can just remember that maybe if you weren't in the military, that every day this is swimming through my head 24/7 before I go to sleep at night. Every time I wake up in the middle of the night crying and shaking, this is what's going on. And there's no reason why the youngest and bravest men and women who have volunteered to protect this country should be the ones who have to go and live through this the rest of their lives, just as well as the ones who get wounded physically and the ones who get killed in combat. There's also the soldiers with wounds you cannot see. And also there's another thing that people don't really recognize a lot. I don't hear too much about it. It's called survivor's guilt. And actually, this past Memorial Day, I decided to write a poem about it because I noticed that writing poetry it helps out a lot with dealing with everything that happened. So I decided to write a poem about survivor's guilt. If you bear with me, I'll try to find it. I got a lot of them in here. I stare at this paper and don't know what to say. I don't feel right saying Happy Memorial Day. I don't find anything happy in the price you paid. We're both just pawns when this game called war gets played. My body came home, but my spirit just stayed. That hot Iraqi day, you were slayed. Watching my back so I could sleep unafraid. I heard the explosion from where I laid, and instantly I watched all the skies go gray. I watched my life just float away. How could things go this way? You were my brother in arms, and you took my place. But not like the way that car bomb took your face and blew off your limbs. When I think about it, my head starts to spin. I get nauseous when I think of your family. I want to tell them I truly am sorry. I'm sorry your son died protecting me. This isn't the way things were meant to be. You see, that day your son took my duty. Your brother sacrificed 4 hours of sleep so he could go guard a gate for me. Your fiance took my fate from me. I'm sorry your father took my place for me. I'm sorry I can spend Memorial Day with my family. Today should have been for you, not me. I wrote that poem in honor of one of my best friends who he had seen me. I hadn't sleep in about 2-3 days, and he could tell I was getting really tired. I was standing in a post. I was actually taking some other guys' posts for them because I saw they were getting tired. And I was just trying to go regarding this gate that led into the Camp Fallujah in Iraq. And my buddy came up to me. He told me, he said, "Hey, dude, go get some sleep. I'll take your post for you." So I said, "All right, I'm going to object to that. I hadn't slept in a while." So as I turned around and I was walking back to the barracks to go lay down on my cot and get some sleep, I heard an explosion. When I turned around, I saw our gate got hit, and all there was left was once my best friend Jeffrey, was just a few pieces. So his memory, the memory of everyone's died over there, the memory of the guilt that lives inside of me for